Good morning, everybody. We are at SOS, which provides amazing relief kits to so many places throughout the world. And they're going to have a presser here in just a minute. But I wanted to take a moment to talk to Nadia Lipova, who is a Ukrainian expat, I guess. She's here in the United States. She's volunteering her time today, which is phenomenal. And just give us a personal feeling, Nadia, of what it's like to see the response from the people here at SOS and throughout the country and throughout the world for the folks in Ukraine.
I'm not going to say that it's impressive or it's huge, or I usually when I see the sign on the street with Ukrainian flag, or I heard about this opportunity, I just don't have words because especially in here, I mean, we all understand that US is far from Ukraine. So no one in here is obligated to help us. So the help that is coming from people's hearts, where they are not obligated. I am obligated. All my family is in there, and I don't have another choice. I'm desperate. I'm trying to search every single opportunity to help. If it's talking to someone, I will talk. If it's helping SOS in here, I'll do my best to do that. But there is a lot of people who's in here, all over the country and the whole world. My family lives on the border with Russian Federation. So on February 24th, my hometown was occupied within the first hour.
Oh my God.
By Russian troops. So we didn't have a chance or choice not to stand up for us, because we don't have a choice not to stand up. But I am incredibly impressed that the whole world within the days did stand up for us, and that actually means a lot. I'm glad that. Well, the first thing that I'm deeply frustrated by the fact that in 2022 there are people who are able to do the crimes that they do in my country. I'm talking about Russian troops, because
Absolutely.
Everyone saw the pictures, everyone saw the videos, and in today's world, it's really hard to hide a lot of stuff. So. But I'm glad that for the majority of human beings on this planet, it's not a question to be a human. You are human, and if someone needs your help, you just stand up, you go, you help in any single way you can. If you will be able to assemble a kit, please assemble a kit. If you're able to donate, please donate. For myself, being so far from my family.
Do we know how to donate? Somebody just asked that question.
Yes, I do have a list of donations. So first of all, there is a Ukrainian American Council Center, and I actually do have a poster with me. So
let's send that to me, and I'll put it on my stream. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Perfect. So we can do that when we're done talking. That's perfect.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So there are a few non-governmental organizations, because we have to understand that what's happening in Ukraine, it didn't start on February 24th in 2014.
Of course.
That's when it started. And in Ukraine today, we do have a list of non-governmental organizations who has an incredibly nice reputation all over the world. So they are pretty trustable, and you can donate directly to them.
Yeah, that's good. So however you can give. If you can make, you were saying, if you can make kits, do that. Do what we're doing here. If you can donate, do that. People have actually gone to Ukraine.
Yes, I don't have that opportunity because for many reasons I can't go, because I won't be able to come back. But I know a lot of people who actually goes there, and I know a lot of people I don't know whether you heard about that or not, but there are people who do assemble medical kits by themselves,
Yes.
put themselves in the suitcase, and just travel with that suitcase all the way to the border with Ukraine, and just give that case and comes back.
Which is amazing when you think about it.
Yes, so I want everyone to understand that everyone can help. And for myself, I made a promise to myself: if I can donate and someone will be able to buy a bottle of water and deliver it to Mariupol or to my hometown in Sumy, that will be enough. Don't ever think that you did not do enough. Just do something.
Whatever you can do.
Whatever you can do. If you can come here, please come here and volunteer for 1 hour, for 2 hours, as much as you can. If you can donate, donate. If you can spread the word that this situation is horrible, that the situation put the whole Europe in danger, even by the amount of refugees in Europe. This is going to be like a huge crisis for Europe for years, and I feel sad about that, but our people, they don't have a choice. They have to go somewhere. They are trying to save their lives. And part of my family is displaced right now.
Where are they? Do you know? In another country, or
No,
just
no.
in Ukraine and still displaced?
They're still in Ukraine, but
Oh,
they were
Lord.
able, in one of evacuation rounds, part of my family was able to evacuate from Sumy, and my father and a huge amount of my other family members are still in town. So I just want to tell everyone, thank you, and I do. I deeply thankful to everyone I see on the street, and when I see a small sign of the flag,
Little sticker of yellow and blue,
Yeah.
which is beautiful.
yeah, stickers of yellow and blue, and just the words peace and support Ukraine. I don't have words. It brings tears because your generosity when you're not obligated is priceless. The generosity and help when you don't have a chance, that's a different story. But the generosity and ability to help and inability to stand behind and be distant, that is priceless. And I am in contact with all of my people, and they see the feedback that the world provides, and I have to tell you that actually helps them to stand, because if you see that behind you there are people who support you even from the distance, that actually brings them a lot of hope, a lot of energy to stand for themselves. Because I can't imagine if Ukrainian people would be left alone in this situation. That would be a complete disaster for my nation. That is why every single time when someone comes to me and tells me, we think about Ukraine, we pray about Ukraine, or I have donated whatever amount doesn't matter. I am passing every single message to my family. I am passing every single message of this to my friends who became actually refugees in Europe, because I want them to know that there are people around who, even in here, who care. And I actually think that this war and the situation is a point of no return for the whole planet, because at this point you understand that being human has nothing to do with your occupation, with the place that you live. Being human and humanity is all of this.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are anymore. You can't hide from to be distant from the war somewhere else, because everyone is so connected to each other these days.
That's right.
That this catastrophe is going to be all over the planet. So I think that today, when we understand that humanity and being human is this, just doing whatever you can to help someone you have never seen and you probably will never see, but knowing that that you can do like a tiny piece to help them.
Yep.
And-
Anything.
And understanding that, I want everyone to understand, those people, they will be thankful all their lives. They will be. They are. It helps them to survive. It helps them to move. It helps them. So don't think that's it doesn't matter to them. It actually does.
So Nadia, what I want to do is, I know you've got to do some work here, but
Yes.
they're going to do a little press conference, and then I want to ask you a question, and I'm going to frame it to you now so you can just be thinking about it. From the city in Ukraine where you grew up,
Yeah.
I'd like you to think of the city that it most compares to in the world that may be more familiar, because Ukraine is kind of a private country. It's one of those places that doesn't get a lot of international coverage unless there's a war. So in terms of the United States, in terms of the big cities in Europe, just think about that for a few minutes while we do this little press conference. And then
Okay.
I would love to hear from you
Okay.
so you can give people a reference point for more well-known places that they may be able to compare what happened in Ukraine to, because it was a beautiful place, it was a cosmopolitan place, and now so many of the major cities are rubble. And I'd just like you to think about that for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and
Okay.
we'll talk to you after this
Okay.
press conference.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Hey, I appreciate you. It's so nice to meet you
And
too.
I want to send you a poster.
I do too. Yes. Let me do this. You hang on, you guys. Be right back. All right, that was a great conversation, and we're going to talk to her again because I posed a question to her about what it is that she is actually going to share with us in a few minutes, which is really cool. A lot of people aren't familiar with Eastern Europe, and to see the cities that are now bombed into oblivion in their glory is an amazing thing. And I've asked her to just think of some comparisons to European cities and cities in the United States. Hi! That remind her of what these cities in Ukraine used to look like. So this is how it all comes in. There's a ton of stuff. Hey girls, how you doing? Ton of stuff that comes in. They put them in buckets. They separate them all out. They're doing a great job. You can see how much stuff is here, pre-sorted. It's amazing. Pre-sorted medical instruments, vac supplies. Hey!
Hi.
How you doing? I'm live. See?
Hi. Look at you.
How you doing?
Dandy. This group right here in the middle.
I know. I'm telling you, these gals know how to move stuff. They are just sorting and cleaning. Why don't you tell us about what you guys do? I want to hear. Introduce yourself. Introduce the ladies. who you are with, what you do, etc.
Okay.
Just go ahead and hang on to that. You don't even have to clip it on. There you go. Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm Cherie Casey. I'm with Supplies Overseas. I'm one of the many volunteers. We have a regular Wednesday group,
Drop it just a little bit. There
as
you go.
well as some others who come in weekly to sort what we call our first sort. We get things from all around the region. We're one of only 14 in the entire country, and we've been doing this for some time. We get all the supplies in, and then we sort them in general, called first sort, and then somebody puts them in finer packages, and it goes out eventually in huge crates to more than 95 people in different countries in the world. It's something
Absolutely
we've been
amazing.
proud to be a part of.
How did you guys come together to start working with SOS?
I originally did it when Haiti had that years ago, when they had that first tornado.
Yeah, the earthquake.
Yeah, the
Yep.
earthquake that went
Yep.
through there.
I remember.
And then
Or the
was still-
hurricane. It was a hurricane.
It was a hurricane,
Yeah.
yes. And then I was working then, but then I left for a while, and when I retired, I came back because I knew I enjoyed it. I got a bunch of my neighbors who happen to all be healthcare people. We're not all healthcare, but many of us are. And
Pretty
we enjoy
amazing.
coming here. It's a real sense of pride.
Well, we're glad that you're here, and thank you,
Thank you for
Cherie.
having me.
Thanks for sharing. I appreciate that. And I love it when citizens just jump in and do whatever they need to do to help whomever they need to help.
Thanks for being here.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Believe me. You can just see the work that's required. They get tons and tons of stuff in buckets and baskets and bags, and they have to figure out what it all is and sort through it and put it in the appropriate places. You've got all these things that say pre-sorted eye, pre-sorted dressings, pre-sorted surgeries, pre-sorted gloves, incontinence, IV. So they have to pull all these things together and put them in all of these places and then create the care kits. And they send them, they ship them to the places that are most in need, which is pretty amazing. And you can see the size of this warehouse. It's up here on Arlington. They do a huge amount of gathering of every imaginable kind of help supply, because one of the first things that people need when there's any kind of an emergency, any kind of a disaster, is medical supplies. And oftentimes, as we have seen in Russia, in the Russian invasion of Ukraine, they've targeted hospitals, which is just horrendous. They've actually, blown up hospitals. And what do you do when you can't go to the hospital? You have to have help from organizations like SOS. So, just seeing the sheer volume of stuff here that they use to create these care kits, these supply kits, and send pallets full of stuff overseas is truly amazing. Truly amazing. So we'll find out. Hey, Regan. This is something that would be great for kids to do, teenagers who are looking for service work, retirees who want to do something that helps to keep, their minds and bodies active, folks who are ambulatory who can stand at a table for a while, spend a few hours. I'm sure that if they wanted to just have the greatest feeling in their hearts, they could give a couple of hours a month up here at SOS. And Cherie just told me this group's been coming every Wednesday for years, which is pretty impressive. You heard just a moment ago, if you weren't listening when I started the interview, I was talking to Nadia, who is Ukrainian. She's here volunteering. She's talking to one of the crews right now, two of the crews right now. And she says her entire family is still in Ukraine, which is horrifying to think about. And they're all displaced. They're staying in bomb shelters. They're staying in subway stations. They're staying, it's impossible to stay safely above ground in many of the cities because they've been bombed so badly. They had enormous amounts of bombing on churches, on daycares, on schools, on hospitals. And looks like we just banned new investment in Russia. News flash just came over my phone. So the more sanctions that are put into place, apparently the more Vladimir Putin has to suffer, which is supposed to hopefully encourage the cessation of this war. I hope it works. Hope it works. You know, the United States is walking such a fine line in what it can and can't do, because the discussion constantly is, do we give them warplanes? Do we give them the bombers that they're asking for, thereby entering ourselves into World War III? And it's a very delicate situation. So if you don't know what's going on, you know, it's not wise to offer an opinion on it. Do some research and find out what it means. How you doing? What's your name? I'm Tara. Nice to meet you. That's good. Okay, here's the mayor's office represented here, because the mayor is in Israel right now, having contracted COVID. Before he departed, he had to quarantine for several days. So several representatives of the mayor's office are with us.
Thank you so very much.
We're going to get a few words from mobilization and SOS are going to say a few words.
You want me to introduce you? That makes more sense, right?
Squeeze in, kids. You got it, Regan?
Okay. So just tell me, ready?
Yeah.
You want me close?
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Today is Mayor's Give a Day here at SOS International. We are packing supplies that will be deployed to help in Ukraine. This is our ongoing effort to support that community. Very often, volunteers here are also packing things for our local community. But today, our focus is a very global picture, bringing Mayor's Give a Day to the other part of the world over in Ukraine. I want to introduce the head of the Office of Globalization in the Mayor's office, Kevin Lynch.
Morning. I want to thank everybody for coming out here. It's been a great turnout, and just found out today we've had 1.3 million visits of people doing volunteer work like this. And it helps not just Louisville. They've donated $1.4 million last year to the city of Louisville, but also shipping goods in the U.S. and all over the world to help people all over. Ukraine's the latest shipment, but this is really a Give a Day has gone global now. And Give a Day started as Give a Day. Back when Mayor Fisher in his first term, it's the 12th year of Give a Day. It's now we now call it Give a Day month, because the whole month of April has Give a Day activities all day long. So it's really been a great turnout from Louisvillians who show compassion by their Give a Day efforts. We want to thank all of you.
Can you just one more time with the specific today's activities in Ukraine? Give us that info one more time, please.
We are packing general surgery supplies for Ukraine.
Yeah, the shipment today of the general surgery supplies for Ukraine, obviously very needed over there. And because Denise has been doing this for years, she's got great connections and ability to make things happen that sometimes people can't do, because there are a lot of differences right now in terms of getting these over to Ukraine, obviously. She's been able to navigate that more and very effectively. We appreciate all her expertise and her commitment. She's one of the most loving people I know, and been dedicated to helping people I know all over the world. Thanks.
How many kits? You know how many kits?
The overall shipment that we're preparing is going to be 20 pallets valued at over $100,000 with the supplies. There will be probably about 100,000 general surgery items They're working in a particular category right now. That's how you do this efficiently and in a way where it can be deployed most easily. So you work within one category, and they're working on bogies right now.
And this will go to aid groups in Ukraine or the government, or how will that be?
We are working with an NGO that is now based in Ukraine. They are working within hospitals. They will be the recipient. They are a well-known international organization. Due to security reasons, we are keeping things, kind of quiet until they're actually there. But they will then be deploying these items, which, by the way, were in response to a specific list of items needed that were provided to us by the hospitals. So we are fulfilling what they've requested specifically, and then they'll be distributed amongst the hospitals. And honestly, which hospitals, it's going to depend on the situation on the day that it arrives, because that can change so quickly. This will leave sometime next week. It will then have to go through customs. So I would say that it will be in the hands of people caring for the injured within about 2 weeks.
Did Nadia want to say anything else?
I want to thank everyone that means a lot to us, and I want to thank everyone here and who will come for the second shift and for the third shift. I'll make sure to pass the word about this initiative to all my friends who is displaced, who is refugee. I know that a lot of hospitals cannot work because in majority of cases the buildings are bombed, so the hospitals as a building do not exist anymore. But I do know that they relocated the hospitals to some other facilities like schools or some other factories, secured some places which can be called relatively clean. So that is exactly why the type of the shipment, like donating today, like sterile things which can be opened in the field conditions, that is beyond of what is needed there right now.
Can I just say one thing? This is a very ongoing effort, okay? There will be more announcements regarding this shipment. There are some things on it coming from other organizations, and we will be sending that announcement out tomorrow.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys, so you can see how much we are accomplishing here. And we're going to go back to Nadia for one more question because we asked that question earlier. Have you thought about the question that I asked you?
Okay.
Give us a comparison of some of the cities that have been bombed into oblivion to European and American cities with which we would be familiar.
So I do know.
Hold 1 second, because
Oh, okay.
Regan's going to set up here. I asked her the question, Regan, compare some cities in Europe and the United States with which people may be more familiar to the cities that have been bombed into oblivion in Ukraine so that people can kind of get a visual. Okay, Nadia, go ahead.
So before moving to US, I actually lived for 10 years in Kyiv, which is the capital of Ukraine, and I love this city. It's a huge city with a lot of artistic vibe, and it's super European by all means. And I actually know for sure that for me, when I compare Kyiv to some cities in US, it's actually Chicago. Chicago has a lot of interesting architecture and it's super artistic. So whenever I feel like really sad and I'm missing Kyiv, I actually go to Chicago and just wandering among the museums and everything. And in Kyiv we have a huge river, and the lake in Chicago kind of like reminds me about the huge amount of water in the middle of the city. So that's Kyiv and Chicago has a lot of stuff in common. And if we talk about my hometown, which is Sumy, I haven't been to many places in US, but I actually have been to few cities in Kansas, and my hometown. I know it's
That's
very
amazing.
it's very weird in many ways, but actually the landscape in Kansas, my hometown is where the landscape becomes like really flat as the Kansas is. So a lot of towns like Kansas City, not so much, but cities like Wichita, they are actually look pretty much like my hometown. And the population of Sumy is around 300,000 people,
Wow.
which I mean it's not a small town. So the cities like big cities like I mean Kansas City population is much higher, but it's a cozy city in a ways. It's not like Chicago. So those cities do remind me about Sumer a lot.
I can't resist to say you're not in Kansas anymore.
I know.
That's a pretty sad statement that we think about Wichita, Kansas in comparison to your hometown in Ukraine. And the beauty and the simplicity, you know, the ambiance, the country setting, and then you talk about Kyiv and Chicago being so much alike. That's a great reflection. And it gives people here who don't know the Eastern European countries a chance to kind of compare it.
Yeah, and that's actually very interesting. I want to say something that I actually found out because I've traveled a lot within Europe before I came to US.
Yes.
And what I found is when you live in your home country for a long time and you don't travel a lot, you think that everyone outside is very different. But then when you start to travel and you see people who speaks different language, who has different culture, different religion, but then you find out that sometimes when you meet a person on the street on the other continent, you've been struck by the amount of stuff that you have in common.
Right.
And the same applies to the cities because what makes city alive are people.
Right.
That you can set up two identical cities in terms of architecture and street setup, but people will make them completely different. So that I want people to remember that you may think that people in Ukraine are very different, but the reality is no, they are not. We are all the same.
You had some questions.
I missed your connection. I'm sorry. I missed your earlier comments. Your actual connection with this program today.
My only connection with this program today is that I'm Ukrainian and I'm trying to use any opportunity to help Ukraine. So that's why I showed up today to volunteer.
And when you look around and see what's going on, what do you feel?
As I said, I feel thankful to everyone who decided that they want to spend these few hours today by doing this for people they may not know. I don't know people who will get this stuff in Ukraine, but as I said, I don't have an opportunity to not show up. I am obligated. I need to help my people every single way I can. These people have a choice. That's why their help is priceless. It doesn't matter how much time they spend. Every single move, every single kid, every single minute they spend helping people they don't know, it's priceless in all the possible ways.
You know, Nadia, you said that we as Americans are not obligated, but morally we are. We are obligated to show up for you.
This is what I said earlier. That at this point we have incredible changes on our planet when people start to understand that humanity doesn't have borders, that we're linked to each other today much more than we were linked like 50 years ago. Today the world is one nest where people live in.
Mm-hmm.
That's why every single small or huge catastrophe will affect everyone. That is why today I am happy to see that for majority of people, it's not a question to be a human. it's not a question anymore. You can't be distant.
Nope.
Because if you are human, you don't have other way than common help.
Yep. Thank you.
Can I get your spelling, your name and spelling for me one more time?
NADIIALYPOVA. Perfect.
How long have you been here in Louisville?
I moved here in 2014.
Thank you, Nadia.
Thank
Thank
you so
Appreciate
much.
you. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Grab that.
Did you get my poster?
I haven't looked because it's on this phone,
that's
but
fine.
let me give you a hug.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me.
It means a lot to us too. Thank you.
And if you don't mind, I'll actually contact my friends.
Yeah.
And I have sent you a poster, which means that you know my cell phone number.
Yes, I've got it. Thank you.
Yes. So, and if you don't mind, I'll send you the contact information from those people.
Love to talk to some of your
Okay.
friends. That'd be terrific. Good,
Okay,
good
thank you
job.
so much.
Thank you so much. So, guys, we've got an amazing effort going on here right now through SOS. It used to be called Supplies Overseas, but it's no longer. It's just called SOS. You can see the many, many flags of the nations around the world that they collect supplies and send for natural disasters, for wars, everything you can imagine. There's a reason why these women are at work. Tell us some of the things you are sorting today, ma'am.
Gloves, and more.
Gloves, and more gloves. Well, they're the most important thing. Obviously, you can't do surgery without gloves.
Surgery without them, but the Humane Society can use them all.
Thank you.
Wildlife rehabilitation centers can use them all to scoop poop.
Awesome.
But also the dressings is the same way.
Yeah.
And they're out of the package and
Yep.
it looks like they're really wasted and not.
Yeah.
The veterinarians love them.
Isn't that amazing? Well, thank God for you guys. You know what a big animal lover I am.
So much. Treasures. Other people.
Wonderful.
Why did I come out today? Because I feel like I'm doing something good, not just the community, but the world. And I'm being selfish also, it helps me.
Thank you. It helps all of us to be of service to others. Gets out of our heads. It's another huge benefit, you guys, is getting out of your head by doing something like this. You look at the work that these ladies are doing, you look at the effort that's being put in, and you can tell the joy. I mean, these ladies come every single Wednesday, and they are as cute as buttons, and they just made my heart sing when they said, the dressings that are out of the package that may not be sterile for human use are still used by veterinarians. They're saying the gloves are being used for wildlife rehabilitation in the war zone. You can imagine the number of animals. You've seen animals being carried out on shoulders of Ukrainians as they flee this horrific takeover by Russia, and they, often leave with nothing. So, veterinarians have had to scatter too, and they now are being given working tools and things that they can use to help serve the animals of this war zone as well, which, as we all know, is very, very dear to my heart. Look at how quickly they can move too. I mean, some of these folks, you can tell, have been doing this for a while because they are doing it. Good morning, Michael.
Hello, how are you?
I'm well. How are you doing? Tell us why you came down today.
I'm supporting a fellow agency.
A fellow agency. That's because the mayor's stuck in where? Israel?
Israel.
God
Yes.
bless him.
With COVID. Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
he's feeling well. He's participating in meetings and Zoom and WebEx interviews, and he's doing his business.
wow, they just dumped an entire box. I don't know if you saw that, but it was amazing. All these things have to be sorted, folks, and that's why they want people to come down today. Any day you can come down. Is it 5 days a week or 7 days a week? 5 days a week.
And every other Saturday.
And every other Saturday. But you dump a box this size full of medical supplies in the middle of a table, and then you got to sort them out. You got to figure out where all this stuff's going to go. And it all has to be put into individual boxes. It all has to be made, neat. Can't just be gobbledygook of wires. It has to be put into some semblance of order, which is really phenomenal. So here we go. Check this out. Everything neat. Oh, so every time you watch Grey's Anatomy, you hear them asking at the table for bovies. That's what bovies are. They're pretty cool. Bovies. Little wires that are connected for, like, I guess, cautery and stuff. It's pretty interesting. You heard them talk to Boki, who's the surgical nurse, and then they ask for bovies. I'm a big Grey's Anatomy fan, obviously. So, did you want to talk? Yes, give us the information to volunteer. That'd be phenomenal. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. She's going to get me the email for you to sign up and volunteer. What a lovely, lovely bunch of folks here. It's just tremendous to see them all at work and to see the amount of stuff that has come in here. Tracheostomy supplies, pre-sorted syringes. I mean, you just name it. And a lot of this stuff gets donated from companies that make the stuff. But I mean, hospitals, doctors' offices, excess, everything. Everybody donates. And it's important that we get these things sorted and on their way to the places they need to go to. So that's why many hands make light work, and we would appreciate you so much giving a few hours of your time every month to SOS. Love Nadia. What a great lady. She is a phenomenal woman. And she has worked very hard. Oh, good. Let's see. We've got it. Okay, so Tanya Stern is the office manager volunteer coordinator. I'm going to just put this right up here. Okay, Tanya Stein, I'm sorry. There's the information. It's tanya.steyn@soshealthandhope.org. You can also call the office at 502-736-6360. I just took a screenshot, which I will add later. And then volunteer information, there we go. 736-6360. Big numbers. And volunteer at soshealthandhope.org. That's probably the preferable one. Volunteer at soshealthandhope.org. Right there. I'm going to screenshot that too and put it in the comments a little bit later. Good deal. Thank you. Can I keep these? Thank you so much, ma'am. I appreciate you. So, SOS, you can walk through. That's all right. SOS is an amazing facility and amazing organization, and you wouldn't believe what they have accomplished in the years that they have been alive. Even with a name change, they are recognized throughout the world. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in with us this morning. Please share the live, get the word out. Good morning, Dee. Good morning, Ben. Good morning, Deborah. Good morning, Bobby. And donations. That was a key thing that we wanted to get from Nadia. And she sent me a poster to my cell phone, which means I can't look at it while I'm live. But I will pull that poster up and put it in the live streams so you guys know how to donate. Okay? All right. God bless everybody who's helping Ukraine, and Slava Ukraine.